Hello and welcome to Wellness Wednesday Live. I'm Bethany Zell. I'm the program director for Healthy You at Cary Medical Center. And this month, our Healthy You program is focused on healthy aging. And so I am joined today for this Wellness Wednesday Live with our friends from the Aristic Agency on Aging. I've got Joy Barresi-Saucier, who is the executive director, and Mark Putnam, who is Communications and Development Coordinator for the agency. Thank you both so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bethany.
So as we talk about healthy aging, I mean, it seems just natural that I'm going to come to you folks because you really are the experts up here in Aroostook County with resources and information and just reliable community programs for the people in our communities. So why don't you start by telling us a little bit about the Aroostook Agency on Aging and how it's helping people in our communities to age well?
Sure, I'd love to do that, Bethany. And thanks for letting us join you today. So the Agency on Aging is a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to help people, in its simplest version, is to help people continue to live in their home community, no matter what their age. And so as we were talking earlier, we're all aging. And so we serve people of all ages. Typically, I was mentioning when I do different community programs to community groups, I start by asking them just through show of hands, how many of you understand that Aroostook Agency on Aging serves all of Aroostook County? And typically a lot of hands go up, although we know that some people don't believe that, or maybe aren't aware that we serve even the most geographically removed communities in Aroostook County, like Orient or Allagash or Patton, or Island Falls. And so that's a really important thing that we want people to know, is that no matter where you are, we can help you find services. Either we can provide services or help you find services. The other question that I ask them often is through a show of hands, how many of you understand that the agency serves people of all ages? And that one typically is less hands raised because people typically associate our organization with serving the oldest of old people. We explain to folks that we serve older people, we serve caregivers, and we serve those with disabilities. So when you think of it in those three categories, older people, caregivers, and those with disabilities, that really opens up to the fact that we serve people of all ages, primarily adults over 18. But in a couple of, at least one of our programs, we are doing some work with individuals that have been recently discharged from hospitals, and some of those actually are younger than 18. The older people, again, all older people, again, many of our clients are over the age of 55. But when we start talking about caregivers, again, that really opens the door to serving people of all ages. I'm a caregiver. Probably both of you are caregivers or have been caregivers, and caregivers come in all ages. So we have a variety of programs and individual support for caregivers. And then again, those with disabilities, we serve people over 18 with disabilities and different, primarily physical disabilities, but sometimes intellectual disabilities too, through programs like options counseling to help them understand services that are available in their community, or through programs like personal support specialists going into your home so that you have in-home support to do your activities of daily living. So that's a really interesting hand raise question, because again, much fewer people will raise their hand understanding that we serve people of all ages. And then the last question is, how many people understand that the majority of our programs that we provide at the agency do not have an income eligibility limit? So, for the majority, our programs at the Agency on Aging are open to anyone that needs service. I mean, there are programs that we provide that do sometimes require us to help you find a payment source, or sometimes our private pay. But for the most part, the majority of the programs that we offer, there is no eligibility requirements. So it's simple as calling us and asking for, telling us you have a certain need, and then we can help you figure out how to meet that. And then the last question I always ask is, how many of you want to continue to remain in your home community, living in your home community? And typically, like at the presentation last week, it was nearly 100%. People want to continue to live in their home community no matter what their age. And the interesting thing on that is nationally, that is number is about 75% of older people want to live in their home and age in their home community for as long as they're able to do so. And so I think, again, in Aroostook County, based on some of these presentations that I've done, we even have a stronger connection to our community and our home community than maybe in some other areas of the country, just based on who we are as a county and as people. And that's really what we're here to do. We're here to help people figure out how to live in their home community. And we do that through a variety of ways. Sometimes there are services that we offer, surprising to me, was a surprise to me when I came to the agency a few years ago. We offer over 20 programs and services from the agency that help people to live in their home community. And then in addition, if we don't have a service, we help people connect with a service. So we have outreach specialists throughout Aroostook County, staff members that are expert in knowing all the services and resources available in communities. So those outreach staff, we pair them with clients from their region, and they can help really through a variety of ways. Sometimes the resources that we find come through a community program right in their home community. Sometimes it's through a church, sometimes it's through the municipality or the library or some other mechanism that helps people to stay living independently. So it's really an amazing organization. I'm proud to be the leader of this amazing organization. And I think one thing I hope people will walk away today with is that a new realization of how much is really available. And the other thing I always tell people is it starts with one call to us. You don't need to know what the question, you don't even need to know the question you need to ask. You don't need to know really what you want as a service. You just need to call us and tell, I need some advice. I need to try to figure out what will help. I mean, you don't have to have a specific question or want a specific service to call us. Just call us and tell us about what your needs are, and we will help figure out what's out there for you. So it all starts with one call.
I was going to add something if I could. We've talked about needs that someone might have as a caller. Sometimes that need is to be needed, and they'll call, and when they find out they can be a part of the agency by being a volunteer, who's a real crucial piece to the services we deliver. And I know Joy can speak to that as well, the volunteer piece.
Yeah, and I think that that's really powerful, that it really all begins with that one call. And I had a very wise boss one time, he said, the answer to every unasked question is no. And so, for those who are dismissing themselves from your being part of what you serve and saying, oh, I'm too young to access those resources, or I live in a different place, they don't serve up here. Don't give yourself a no answer. Make the phone call. Even if the agency can't help, it sounds like you guys have such a great team working to connect people with the people that can help. So it's amazing and very comprehensive what you guys have going on over there.
Yeah, so, I think too, just to tag off of what Mark was saying, that last week I was speaking to one of our volunteer coordinators, and she was talking about we have a program called the Friendly Volunteer Program, which has really been further developed over the last year. We started by having friendly visitors and callers, and these folks help connect trained, background checked volunteers to those in need of a friendly voice or face or interaction. We know that social isolation is very detrimental to our health, and is a key to being able to stay in your home community. And so anyway, they had a consumer call, someone called that wanted to get connected as needing a call. And by the end of the conversation, they decided they could be a volunteer. So not only could they receive a call, they could give a call. And so I think that the whole volunteer program that we have going here, we're an AmeriCorps volunteer site, which means that we help older people connect to volunteer opportunities. And we help not only those volunteers not only help the agency, but they help a variety of other charities in our region, like food pantries, like transportation services, other things. So that AmeriCorps program is very strong, had traditionally over 400 volunteers across the county. And then as an agency, nearly every program that we have of those 20 programs and services, nearly every program has a volunteer component, has volunteers that work in that program. And so as an agency, we have about 140 volunteers, and our goal is to double that number, because we know that we can't do it alone on the funding that we get. We know we have to get community engagement and involvement, and we know that volunteers help us exponentially increase our impact in the community. So not only do we have the friendly visitors and callers now, we have friendly helpers. They help to do some small household chores. They're not house cleaners, and they're not driveway plowers, but you know what? They definitely every once in a while can throw in a load of laundry, or if you have a step that needs to be shoveled, they could do that. They can do small household tasks. If you have light bulbs that need to be changed, or if you have some flashing that you need to put on your house so the animals don't come in the fall. Those type of things fit into that friendly helper program. We have friendly technology helpers. We call them friendly techies. Those again are trained background check volunteers that can help you learn how to use your technology, might help you learn how to set up your Facebook, or learn how to use a Zoom call for your healthcare appointment. And then we have something called friendly neighbors, which these are some volunteers in communities that help people make connections, help them make a connection to our agency, or may help them make a connection to another agency. So as an example, if we could have a friendly a friendly neighbor in Portage Lake, Maine, maybe that friendly neighbor might identify early that someone needs help, or maybe they could say to someone, hey, have you heard about the Agency on Aging? So we need those type of volunteers in our community that are helping to make connections. And then the last one, which we're grouping into the friendly programs, is friendly money minders. These are volunteers, again, background checked and trained, that help people manage their mail, help them manage sometimes just the act of writing out a check. Sometimes it's helping balance their checkbook. And get a hold of the finances. And so there's whole programs and processes that are tried and true to help people to manage their money. So this whole body of work, again, with volunteers, I know that's something we want to talk about. I don't know if this is when we want to talk about it, but is so tremendously valuable when you think about the contribution that the current 140 volunteers are making to older people, and this service that's allowing us to extend to them is really amazing. And we want to continue to grow these programs, and we hope people, like our consumer last week, we hope people will take advantage of them, right? And so if you need some of these friendly volunteers help, we want that, but we also want you to consider maybe if maybe there's a way you can become a friendly volunteer too. And again, friendly volunteers could be people of any age. It's not just older people that are the friendly volunteers. It could be a college student that wants to be a friendly volunteer.
And sometimes those are, younger people sometimes are a little more equipped for some of these tasks and things that people have before them. And speaking of volunteers, maybe we can just expound on that a little more. So I know recently there was a press release sent out, I think by Kathy, talking about some volunteers and recruiting volunteers, in essence, trying to meet this goal of yours to double your volunteer base. So right now, we're kind of in the middle of some upticks in the number of COVID cases here in the county. What does volunteering look like at the moment? Are people do you really have your volunteers going into homes at this time, or has that kind of been paused temporarily?
Yeah, it's a great question. And certainly throughout COVID, this has been a big challenge. And for a time, our volunteer numbers really went down significantly, right? Because we were all hunkered down like a snowstorm, trying to get through the early phases of COVID. But since then, we, just like our employees, we want to make sure that we're keeping everyone safe, just like our employees and our consumers or people we serve. We want to make sure we're keeping everyone safe. And that goes for our volunteers as well. So it's really dependent on the program that the volunteer is working with. I mean, some volunteer programs like Friendly Callers, you don't have to leave your home to do. So again, that's a very safe program. Other programs like volunteers that we have that help deliver home delivered meals, we've made that a contactless process. So that volunteer, although, when they're in kind of picking up the meals from us, they mask, they do 6 feet, they hand sanitize, all those, basic skills that we've learned over the last couple of years. But on the other end, where they're delivering the meals to the consumer, we do that in a contactless way. So many of the consumers have a cooler on their porch, and some of the meals, again, if they're hot or frozen, they can be put in that cooler, and then the individual comes out and gets them after our volunteer leaves. So we've had to look at every program and say, how do we keep these folks safe? And again, sometimes we do that just through the basic mechanisms, and sometimes we have to get a little bit more innovative to make sure to keep them safe.
So is it something you would say you've been continually tweaking, like putting things back into place and then pulling back as numbers kind of go up and down?
Yeah, just again, same as you're seeing in the public settings. We've continued to, just on almost a daily basis sometimes. I know for you too, Bethany, where you work, we're just reevaluating on a daily basis and re-educating staff about what our protocols are. I mean, those basic standards of safety haven't changed, but at times, we've done more in the homes or less in the homes based on what's going on in the community. Before this most recent influx of cases, we were really starting to go back more into the homes. And we've learned how to do things without going in homes, but you learn about what folks really need sometimes when you visit them in their home, and they need that in-home support. Certainly our aid services always continued to go in the home, even through COVID. So we have personal support specialists that are in-home aides that help people do their activities of daily living. Those have always continued to go in the home because they have to do their job. And the folks with that service need that support to stay living in their home. So we just surrounded that with a variety of precautions. But there are other programs like our information and assistance, our outreach specialists. They've learned how to meet people on their porch. They meet people in their parking, in their driveway, or sometimes in a public parking lot, or in it. Sometimes they still need to go into the home because maybe the person they're helping has hearing issues or vision issues or is homebound, and needs someone to go in. So we've tried to keep a balance between continuing to provide service. All of our services continued really during all phases of COVID, maybe with the exception of a couple. But all of them had some tweaks that we've done and continue to do over time to keep folks safe.
So do you think, I know from my standpoint, I was out in the community doing these kinds of programs prior to COVID, and since COVID hit, we've really kind of turned things into this hybrid model, and we're reaching more people than ever now because this is now accessible. It's very easy for people to log on if they have the technology and the know-how to do that, which you guys are helping with your volunteer techies. And, some of our age-friendly programs are working to help people connect with technology and work through some of the hesitation and issues that they might have had doing that. So as things do begin to open up and you look at doing some in-person classes again, do you think that you'll still continue to maintain some kind of a hybrid?
Yeah, it's interesting about, when this started, it's always fun to look back, but when this all started, did anybody even know what the word hybrid meant? I mean, we provided services in person, and certainly we've had a tremendous amount of learning over the past 18 months about how we can provide services, really good services, from afar. And we understand that not everyone has technology, nor do they want to participate in services that way. So we're never going to go only, continue. Our goal is not to just only provide services in virtual environments, of course. But the other side of that equation is that it's allowed us to meet one of the challenges that we've had, this provision of services virtually, as we do serve all of Aroostook County. And we do a lot of wellness programming. It's provided us an opportunity to serve people at a great distance. You know, you just think of it before, again, if you're in Orient, Maine, and you want to attend a wellness class, like a Tai Chi class, or a falls prevention class, or learn how to prepare for the time that you might need main care. Before you even have to deploy someone to you, or you would have to come to us. And through this virtual ability world now, we have the ability that you don't have to leave your home in bad weather, hours from service centers. And so I think this has been a wonderful innovation that the world has gone through. Again, not to meet everyone's needs, because we're still going to meet your needs in person, but to give some other options of how we can meet needs, especially in very rural communities that are challenged with transportation. So yeah, it's never going to go. I don't think it ever will go away, but it certainly is not going to be everything that we do. We've got to find a balance there. Mark?
Oh, something coming off what you were just saying. Speaking of a hybrid, we even have a hybrid of a video class. Would be the example of age-friendly Danforth. You had a group of people, some that had connections, some didn't, some had devices, some didn't, but they wanted to still get together. So they socially distanced in a location remote that still had internet connection there, and they did it as a group, spaced apart. So they were quite imaginative, and
Like a hybrid.
they enjoyed it. I think they enjoyed it, and we'll still see that in the future probably.
Yeah, and I think as it's safer, you could do that and bring, a couple people together in one location. And, especially with Aroostook County being so spread out, I know one of the big, things with the winter and just our weather can be very defeating if you put so much time and energy into planning a program or a workshop or some kind of an event, and then snowstorm. I can't even tell you how many Healthy You events I've had to cancel for that very reason. And so this hybrid model really gives you the flexibility and the confidence to plan programs and have a backup plan. Ideally we want to be in person, but it's opening up way more opportunities for us being so rural and dealing with treacherous weather conditions.
Right.
Real good.
One of the examples of that, I'll just add, we've been planning, we're working with the Cooperative Extension, UMaine Cooperative Extension, who has a nutrition division. And we're working with the Northern Maine Community College, who now has a beautiful new teaching kitchen, to plan some programs beginning in January. They'll run through the winter months, January through April-ish, which are all around cooking and nutrition. And it's really interesting because there are so many different opportunities now. This teaching kitchen at the community college has video equipment that will show the thing being made, and you can chat in it. At the same time, you can have, I don't know how many people they have there, probably 12 to 15 people engaged and actively participating on site. And so when we were coming up, we were brainstorming the list of all the different topics we could do and how this might work. Some of them could be cook-alongs. You could even cook along from your home if you wanted to in some situations. Some of them would be more demonstration type programs. There was just such a huge list of opportunities. So again, all of these, even though there's challenges with this technology, there's a variety of opportunities that now come to play. And with a teacher that can be centrally located in one part of the county. So the other thing I just want to mention too on the topic of technology, because I had it on my list, is the fact that we do have an iPad lending library. Now, through some of our federal response money that we received as part of the Older Americans Act funding, we developed an iPad lending library. The intention of that library is to help individuals participate and receive programs and services from us. So it's not simply anyone can just come in and lend an iPad. We'd love to be able to do that, but we don't have that many iPads. So the intention of this iPad lending library is if you want to participate in any of our wellness programs, if you are participating in some of our online programs, If you are a friendly, if you want to receive a friendly visit from someone. So basically, if you're enrolled in one of our programs and don't have the technology to be able to participate virtually, we can help you with that. And those are signed out like a library. You sign out for a period of time and then you return it and someone else gets to use it for a period of time. And then we also have those friendly techies, those volunteers to help you figure out how to use it and to sign on and to get set up.
That's awesome. Mark, you want to add something?
On that same note that Joy was talking about, not only the device is necessary, but sometimes you can have a device, but you don't have broadband. So that's another element of our lending process is it's a cellular, activated device. So they don't necessarily need to have broadband in their home. They just need to have access or sight toward a cell tower and they'd be able to use it. So that's pretty important in a county like Aroostook that's got some areas that don't have signal.
For sure. It is very, very critical that, they have good access and can get online to use those technologies. So what would you say? I mean, I know we've talked a lot about volunteers and all these amazing programs and resources that you guys have going on. What would you say that, what is your area of greatest need right now?
Yeah.
As far as the agency is concerned, are you needing financial support or mostly volunteer-based people? Where are we at?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things I wrote in notes to talk about. One is the fact that everything we do in the community is based on community need. So, our goal is if there are community needs for older people, their caregivers or those with disabilities, then we want to be responsive to those needs. So we try to, we do different surveys, we do different plans to understand what those needs of the community is, and then we develop plans on how we respond to that. So, certainly with the population becoming older and a lot of even older people returning to Aroostook County, because again, this is what they consider their home community. This is where they want to continue to age. Then, part of this is just demand for services. So we continually work with and to understand what that demand is and how do we keep up with the demand. Understanding there are a lot of people in our community that need and want services, and so we do our best to provide that. And sometimes, those challenges relate to just having enough bandwidth to respond to the service, but sometimes it is related to transportation or geography or weather, and how do we still meet folks' needs with that. The other big challenge that is not just in Aroostook County, but is state and nationwide is related to these the direct care workforce, or these aides that go into homes to help people do their activities of daily living. We basically are in a crisis situation in Maine and nationally in Aroostook County in terms of having enough workforce to go into homes to provide this level of care so people can stay living in their home. Going back to that first question, how many people will raise their hand and say, I want to stay living in my home no matter how much help I need for as long as I can. And for us to be able to do that, which we want to do, it takes staff to help us to, paid these aides. They're called personal support specialists. The interesting thing, and I just was touring an intern through our office and I was talking about aides, is that there's really no, I believe you have to have a high school or a GED, high school diploma or GED, but there's no training that you need to come be a personal support specialist to start. We or other personal support agencies, we're just one of probably 6 in Aroostook County. We will provide all the training that you need. So that's really good because that's low barrier. It just takes a call to one of these agencies that has the service. The other thing that's interesting about personal support specialists is that because the jobs are structured the way they are, you can really, as the worker, you can decide what hours you want to work. So if you're a college student and you just want to work mornings and you're going to go to college in the afternoon, or vice versa, or if you are a young parent that decides, I want to be here to put my kids on the bus and I want to be here to get them off the bus, but I have these hours in between, you can tell these agencies, those are just the hours I want to work, and they will find you work. There are over 10,000 hours of paid or funded care in the state each week that go unmet because there's no workers to do this work. And so what we have been doing at the agency, because not only do we provide this type of service, but we advocate for older people and those with disabilities in our community, we're trying to get out there and advocate to say, hey, hey, Aroostook County, who is out here that might want to work, a couple hours a day, just a couple hours a day, or, a couple days a week. And don't we have a great role for you? Not only is it flexible, it's rewarding, and you're making a huge difference in the lives of people in your community by helping them to stay living independently in their home. And again, all the training is paid for. Most agencies in Aroostook County, they pay for the training. And again, many have sign-on bonuses, to get you started. It's a really great role, again, for the right person. It's just us connecting with those right people. Again, sometimes I wonder, certainly college students, it might be a good fit. Young parents, it might be a good fit. Older people, many of our aides are over the age of 50. It's a good fit. And, I also wonder about men. You don't typically see men traditionally in these type of roles, but I know men are wonderful caregivers, that's the right word. And they would be wonderful in this role as a support specialist to someone. And some of our consumers, again, want men. They are men. They want their caregiver or their support person to be a man. And sometimes physically they need their person to be a man, to be able to help them do the things they want to do. So I guess a shout out, hopefully through Facebook Live, that if you're currently considering and maybe a part-time job or a full-time job, and you want something that's flexible and makes a difference in your community, come see one of these agencies. Again, I tell people, we'd love to have you at the agency, but go talk to all 6 of them and see what they offer, and then pick the one for you. And to us at the agency, you could pick any of them and you'd make our day.
And I'll definitely post the links for people to connect. Are these PSS positions and paid positions all posted on your website?
They are posted on our website, but again, you can go to Aroostook Home Health, you can go to Care and Comfort. I'll just shout out to a few: seniors domestics, professional home care associates. There's a few others. I'm not going to get them all, so my apologies to my peers out there. But again, we just want to connect people to those positions. And again, it's throughout Aroostook County. You can live in Orient. I use Orient just because it's far away from me. But I mean, you could live in Allagash or Ashland or Garfield Plantation, and we can make a connection for you to pick up some hours. Or any of these agencies can make that connection.
Mark, any other needs that you can think of?
The biggest need is a communication need, that really tell our story and let people know there's no wrong question, and that there are services available to them, or that they'll be able to help deliver for us as a volunteer. So there's a reason for everyone to talk to us.
Yeah, I'd like to say too, I think Mark makes a good point. When I do community presentations, I usually take our organizational brochure, and folks can pick those up right in our lobby, or we can send you some. So call us if you'd like one. Again, it's all on our website as well. But what I tell folks is, please be an ambassador for us. Please take that, and even if you don't need something right now, share it with someone else that might. Or that might take advantage of this, or that they might share it with someone. We want to spread the message far and wide that we're here to help, and help us spread the word. Like us on Facebook. We have a goal of 2,000 likes. We haven't met that, and we're headed toward it. So help like us on Facebook, and then we'll set a new goal. Once we hit the 2,000 goal, we'll move up again.
If I could add something else, sometimes we found something during COVID when we were asked to step up and help register folks for vaccinations. We learned something about ourselves then, that we do have skills that we didn't even know we had, as in this case, like a call center. And I don't say we, our volunteer base as well. And when they were helping people get their vaccinations, it brought more people into the fold, because they said, I know other people out there that need this service. So that's just an example how it was amplified, I guess, is what I'm saying. Our service started with one person, but they amplified it to 5 more people because they saw the benefit it created. So that was a real blessing. And, it was scary at first to be asked to help in that role, but we really, I think Joy would agree, we really learned a lot and we really grew a lot from that. And we're
Yeah,
ready to do.
we had over 50, we had about 50 volunteers, just under 50 volunteers actually. And they helped over 2,500, 2,800 people register for their vaccination, for their COVID vaccination. And, that was from the end of January into the April timeframe. So it was a tremendous effort by a really strong group of volunteers and with employees assisting that made that all possible. So I think, that helped us meet a lot of new people, both volunteers and people that hadn't been as familiar with what we had to offer. And, that's our goal, is to respond to what the community needs. And that just happened to be what the community needed at the time.
What a great story of, filling that need and really seeing where you were needed and the services that you could provide. And, like a lot of us, we all kind of learned to do things that weren't in our normal job descriptions. Mm-hmm. And, you guys rose to the occasion and certainly helped out all of us in the healthcare setting to relieve some of that burden that we were dealing with our phones ringing off the hook and not having the capacity really to answer each of those things individually and help walk people through that process. So it was, at least from our Cary Medical Center standpoint, it was a huge burden lifted to be able to refer people to you guys to help filter through some of that information and the confusion that went along with it.
Yeah, the power of the volunteers really can't be, we can't thank the volunteers enough, because the power of the volunteers, we just simply couldn't have provided that type of assistance without volunteers. We tried at first to start just doing it with staff, and quickly we realized we need help, and we called on the community and they came. So thank you to all those volunteers.
Awesome. And then I don't think we can talk about healthy aging without talking about fall risk. And, this month is, actually on the horizon, September 20th to 24th is National Falls Prevention Week. And when I first got into this work, I didn't know what that meant. I was like, I don't want to prevent fall from coming. That's my favorite season. And, quickly realized it's more than that. This is actually about falling down. Mark, maybe you could tell us a little bit about this initiative. What is falls prevention, and how are you guys getting involved with that initiative?
Well, we're involved with it because it's been going on for quite some time in the nation as a whole, and probably worldwide, because it is real. Falls, they don't make a lot of publicity, but they affect a lot of people and families. They can debilitate someone, without any notice, and then change their world in a second. So it's a way to alert people to the possibility that something like that can happen and what you can do to try to avoid it. And it's also to what would you add to that, Joy? I'm sorry.
I would just say that, I think Mark's right. It's preventing a fall can mean allowing an individual to live in their home much longer, right? Because we know that if you fall, you have the chance that something will happen that will make you have to go to the hospital, or to then, eventually to a long-term care or something like that, or assisted living. So preventing falls is just core to keeping people living independently in their home community, right? And that's again what we're all about. We provide a variety of programs to help prevent falls, or help people learn how to prevent falls. So one of them is a simply monthly or quarterly program that we have. It's virtual or in person, where it's just learning about falls and learning about all the different types of programs to prevent falls. And then we have some programs that go more into depth. As an example, I'm a Tai Chi instructor now. I did my first class last spring. And so Tai Chi, we've learned, is a wonderful form of exercise that can improve folks' balance improve balance, improve coordination, and prevent falls, and have a variety of other good health impacts too. So we have that program. We have Matter of Balance, which is an exercise program that works on balance and preventing falls. We have now Bingo Size, which is our really fun new program that incorporates bingo and different forms of exercise. So there are a variety of different types of falls programs that have been proven through research to reduce someone's chance of falling. And so we want to get the message out there about, hey, come learn about, you can come to our program and learn about all these types of programs and what are puts you at high risk for fall. But you also can come to these other programs like Tai Chi or Matter of Balance that are multiple week programs that over time help you to get stronger and improve balance and prevent falls. So Falls Prevention Week is just a great time to share with Aroostook County what we're doing with falls, and how to prevent them.
Yeah, and I think one of the most important things I think that I got out of when I was looking into some of that material earlier this month is, falls are not a normal part of chronic falling is not a normal part of aging. And I think sometimes we dismiss it as such. And so we're like, oh, they're just old and they're clumsy on their feet or whatever, but you can successfully reduce your risk of falling. And that's, through some of these evidence-based programs that you were just talking about, Joy, and, just even things within your home, putting in handlebars in your shower or mats down and different things that will help with slipping hazards. Cording in your house and making sure that there's no trip hazards that could set you up for a fall in the middle of the night if there's not proper lighting. I mean, all these little details. And so it is really great that we do something each year to really bring attention to this matter and let people know, what their risk is and practical things they can do either through some of your programs or at home to reduce that risk.
I was speaking to one of our leaders, our volunteer leaders that had done the Matter of Balance class. And she had told me that she started doing Matter of Balance because she liked to walk through the woods with her husband when he would go hunting. And she realized that she wasn't as steady, going through the woods. We know how hard that is. She was having a harder time with her balance when she did that. And so she took a Matter of Balance class and she saw a difference. And so that's what inspired her to become an instructor so she could do more of that. And I can tell you with Tai Chi, even for myself, that after you do Tai Chi for a few weeks, your feet feel very connected to the earth. That's part of what we do. It's your stance, how you're aware of your weight shifting between your feet and your how your body mechanics play into that. And when I don't do Tai Chi, I don't feel that connection. But if I think about it, I can really feel that connection to your feet to the floor. And again, it makes us healthier, and it has so many other health benefits as well. That it's really an amazing program.
Awesome. Well, do you guys have anything else you'd like to add, or anything you don't think we covered or would like to put out there about the great things you guys are doing?
I had something that we had talked about before the show, Bethany. We recently did a mailer on opportunities and classes and informational sessions that we offer in coordination with Aging Me. And I think I'll leave it to Joy to explain a little bit more about that, our partnership with the university and so on and so forth.
Right. We have a partnership with University of New England and the University of Maine Center on Aging. And the Aging Me project is really statewide about workforce, helping the healthcare workforce understand aging and be more attuned to what older people need. But our components focus on community education on a couple topics. We have a program called the Conversation Project, which helps people to understand how to have challenging conversations. Sometimes, it goes both ways. Sometimes it's hard to bring up the topic of a conversation. If you're an older person, you may have a harder time bringing up with your spouse or your child, for example. But sometimes if you're a spouse or a child or someone else, another caregiver, you might have a hard time bringing up a conversation going the other way. So these are important conversations. It's not born in us how to know how to have these conversations. And often we haven't had role models to watch other people have these conversations. And so this is something from the Institute for Healthcare Improvement that is a program that helps you figure out how to have these conversations and walks you through it and gives you a toolkit. So that's a wonderful program. We also have a brain health program, which is about how to consider all the factors that keep our brain healthy and what can we do to take action to keep our brain healthy. That's a great program. We also have this falls prevention overview program I talked about, and we also have the Main Care Toolkit program. And again, Main Care Toolkit, for those that have ever worked with Main Care, either for themselves or a family member, they'll understand that there's a lot of paperwork that you need to get together to prepare to apply for Main Care. And so we have a leader here, Sharon Burrs, a leader for many years. And she said, well, I like to help people do a toolkit, a binder, where they can start collecting all the paperwork they need so that when that point should come, they will be prepared to say, here is my paperwork. And so we call that the Main Care Toolkit. We've developed that further with informational sessions and the actual binder that you can get. And so that's another program that we have, Main Care Toolkit, that's from the Aging Maine partnership that we hope to bring to more people this year. And then the last thing, which is not part of that grant, but is part of some other work we're doing, I just want to shout out to age-friendly communities across Aroostook County. I know Caribou is an age-friendly community, and as well as Limestone, Presque Isle, Danforth, and then we have two new age-friendly communities getting started, which are Holton and Fort Kent. And so I just want to encourage those communities. Those communities have grassroots volunteer groups and community partners that have come together to assess what the community needs, make a plan of action, and implement that plan to make that community stronger for people of all ages. So some of their projects relate to everything from understanding what's available, those community resources, to transportation, to social engagement, to food services. There's a variety that's going on. Those communities are really shining, and our communities in Aroostook County are coming up with some wonderful ideas that I know will be picked up by other parts in the state. And that's the benefit of these communities, is they talk to each other and they share what's working. Limestone has done a community wood pile. I know Caribou, one of the things I love that you've done are the sand buckets that you've distributed to prevent falls. Danforth has a new community center going where they're doing a variety of different programs. Presque Isle has done some walking paths, some magnets that share community resources. And I know Holton and Fort Kent are going to come in great guns with all the wonderful things that they're doing too. So we're up to 6 age-friendly communities. I hope that we have more in Aroostook County. We're looking at maybe doing some things countywide. We also have an AmeriCorps member who will be coming to Aroostook. Well, we have 2 coming to Aroostook County. One will be located in Danforth, and one will be located here with us in Presque Isle. And these members, as part of the AmeriCorps program, are being, we're a host site, so they're actually working through the Humane Center on Aging, and their sole mission and purpose will be to help age-friendly communities on their journey. So sometimes it might be the community needs help just getting their application started and learning how to become age-friendly. Some of them might need help with some of the assessments or planning, or some might need some help with implementation and getting the word out, or evaluating what they're doing. And so we're looking right now for an AmeriCorps member to join us here in Presque Isle that will serve all of Aroostook County and support age-friendly work throughout the county. It's a stipended position. They get health insurance. They get also some educational stipends, and they get just a lot of experience and the ability to make a big difference in the place that we live. So if you know anyone that might be interested and the time is right for them to be an AmeriCorps member, send them our way, and we'd love to have them get engaged with age-friendly communities.
Awesome. And I'll definitely put the links in the comments and description of this video once we get it all posted, to help connect people with you guys and the great work that you're doing. I think just one thing to reinforce too, even those age-friendly community resources are for all ages, you know, just like you guys and the great work you're doing. We're all aging. And so never feel like your age bracket is being excluded from any of these resources, because we're all needing to find ways to age better and be healthy at home.
Yes, we agree.
Well,
Hear, hear.
do you guys have anything else you need to add? Any last thoughts?
I don't, just please, to those watching, reach out to us, let us know what's going on with you, how we can help, or how you'd like to get involved. We'd love to meet you and learn more.
And I get something to add is that we have our annual meetings coming up next month, and that's a perfect way for a first introduction maybe to what we do. We're going to hold them regionally at this point, one in the north, one in the south, and one in the central. First week of October, there'll be more to come on that, but we love participation and people to lend their voice and hear what we're working on.
And
Great.
I'll just add to what Mark said. Yes, please come to our annual meeting. Right now, there are in person. We continue to monitor that. So we may have to get back to you if that changes. But please join us at our annual meetings. And again, we'll be posting information on our Facebook site and in the newspapers about that.
Great. Well, thank you both for being here, for all this great work that you all are doing, for the information, and just being willing to come on and share it with our communities.
Thank you
Well,
so
thank you
much
for
again,
wellness.
Bethany.
Thank you for your show. Appreciate
Thank
that.
you all for tuning in, and I hope I'll see you guys back here in 2 weeks. We're going to talk to our age-friendly caribou coordinator and our next Wellness Wednesday Live in 2 weeks. So join us back here.
Thanks. Take care.